in the business. And, it's a recruiting program right then and there because everybody comes from a different area. But the more I thought about how can you tell everybody your story, you'd be blowing your own horn all the time. But the fact of it is, here's the thought, and I'd like all of you to kind of think about this, have an open mind, because you've got to get a positive attitude. What can I do to build my business? And think about, write your story on one page. And what would you put on that sheet? What were you doing when you found your company? Maybe you were working at an office. And you say, I was working at an office, and this lady told me about this color or the bra. And then why did you decide to get started? Well, I got started because I really liked that product, and I've never seen anything like that before. So I asked the lady, I'd like to see the product, and how did you get into this? And then you can get started. Now, why is your life better? Because you did get into the business. Did it change? Do you have more income? Do you feel more secure within yourself? That's something to put down. And why do you recommend your company to others? And now think about that. Those 4 things, if you put on a little small piece of paper, keep it short, no more than a small page, and photocopy it and put it on some pretty paper. Include it with everything you hand out, such as brochures and in with sales receipts and delivery of product. And you can summarize at the end by saying, I would love to hear how the story about how did you hear about this company, and I wanted to share my story with you, and if you're interested, I'd like to have a time to really tell you a little bit more about what I do, and that we're looking for people that might be interested in having a business and having this wonderful feeling of independence, but at the same time in control of their destiny. So I think some of those things, now, to me, that appealed to me because I got to thinking about it. I could go ahead, if I were out in the field, and make up a nice little sheet, and just put like on pretty paper and kind of put little items on there to get their attention and kind of make it pretty and attractive and hand it out to everybody in with the bras. I mean, how many times do you ladies, how many bras do you sell a week, or how many color or personal appointments do you make every week? And give one to each lady and say, if you know of anybody interested in starting your own business, I'd love for you to give this to them to explain how I got started, and I'd love to talk to them also. I thought this was a great idea. So think about it, ladies. It's something to have an open mind, because I think it's something that could work. And, if you haven't tried it, you never know, do you? So I'd like to see if you'll try it. And if some of you tried, let me know. I'd like to know some of these things people are looking at and think, I'm going to try that. It's different. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over to Corey, because she's going to take it from there, and we're going to go into different types of people out there. So, Corey, go ahead.
Thank you, Phyllis, and good evening, ladies. Okay, today I'm going to talk about the 4 types of selling personalities, because if you think about it, wouldn't it be wonderful if each one of us can be more self-aware of our own personality? Because knowing the strengths and challenges of your personality and that of other personality types can be a great skill for you in your business in increasing your sales and sponsoring. So each of the 4 personality types that I'm going to talk about has elements that make for good leadership, good communication, good selling, and motivating. Now, as I talk about each type, what I would like for you to do is to think about their similarity to your own personality. How do you sell and sponsor? Then think about the strengths of each personality and how you can adapt the good qualities of each type, make them your own, in enhancing the way you manage and grow your business. So here we go. The first one I'm going to talk about is the visionary seller. Now, a visionary seller is someone who thinks about the future. They really have an expansive frame of mind. They think about business growth. That means sponsoring. And they adapt to change very easily. From the moment they get into the business, this type of personality thinks about moving up management levels. They're the type to plan ahead. And the strengths of this personality type is that they're great persuaders and influencers because they have such vision and they believe so heartily in that vision that they can easily convince others of that. They're also very innovative and creative when it comes to ideas for parties, shows, and presentations. They're great at inspiring others to be their best. This type of personality is someone who can see a new recruit who's like a diamond in the rough and say, you know what, you stick with me, or with enough training, you can become an IED within a year. You could become a really great top producer in my team within a year. So, that's how they see the best in others, is that they can visualize the future. They're also very good at selling the sizzle and the stake of the product or the opportunity. And needless to say, this type of personality has lots and lots of energy. And they have the motivation of this personality type is really very internal, meaning that they have this vision within themselves. You might call it an agenda or a goal, but that's, it's very personal to them. And that vision is something that they will work at achieving. Now, visionary sellers are great leaders and communicators, and they're also great planners and strategists. So a visionary seller would ask that question that Phyllis said earlier, what can I do to build my business? They're the type who would ask that question from the moment they get into that business. Or if they want to move up management levels, what can I do to become a district director from where I am as a director? Or what can I do, what more do I need to do to earn my free trip to Disney World? So in thinking about the future, what they tend to do are ask questions. Now, the second type of personality is the driven seller. Now, the driven seller is similar to the visionary seller, but the driven seller is like very organized and they're very result-oriented. A driven seller really focuses on the plan and working that plan to work for them. And the strengths of a driven seller is that they can figure out new and better and effective ways of doing things to make it more efficient, focus on maximizing sales. They're very, very resourceful and persistent. They're the type who really won't take no, but they're not really aggressive either. They're kind of persistent, where they probably won't give up on someone who says, oh, I'm not ready yet, or I'm not sure about a particular product. They probably will say, I'm not going to give up on you. I'm going to keep in touch with you. And that's what a driven seller does. They're very focused on achieving goals, and they have, like the visionary seller, driven sellers are very high in energy. Now, the challenges of the visionary seller and the driven seller is that a visionary seller tends to see so much into the future that they forget, that they kind of lose touch with the current reality of their business. They might not see the current everyday needs of their business. Like, for instance, a visionary seller might not see that maybe their new team member needs more training, because there's so much thinking about 6 months from now or a year from now. And with a driven seller, their challenge is that a driven seller is, although not very aggressive, they kind of sometimes lack the subtlety, and they are known to ruffle feathers of others. And, a driven seller can be so focused, again, on achieving goals that they forget the needs of their team members. Now, both the visionary seller and the driven seller, they can be great leaders and communicators and even sellers. And like, for instance, if a driven seller has certain sales or sponsoring goals, this person will do everything it takes to reach those goals. Much like the visionary seller, the driven seller has that internal drive within them. They have that vision. For instance, if a driven seller were focused on earning their trip to our 2010 annual conference, they would know from day one exactly how many they have to recruit and sell to earn the trip, and they would work systematically to achieve that goal. So driven sellers actually make really great project managers as well, and they make great team leaders. Now, the third